Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Noble Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really fun video that I actually saw my friend McKay from Oh Hey It's McKay do. She did these two videos where one was books I thought I'd love but ended up hating, and then she did books I thought I'd hate but ended up loving. So at the beginning of this week, I posted the books I thought I'd hate but ended up loving, and today I'm going to be talking about books I thought I'd love but ended up hating. That was a freaking mouthful, okay? I'm gonna have McKay's channel linked in the description box below, as well as her video that she did, and I'll have my books I thought I'd hate but ended up loving video linked in the cards in the description box below for you. So if you've watched my channel for a while and you know my opinion on some of on most books that I talk about, right? You probably know what are going to be on these lists. You probably already know what books are going to be on this list, okay? Because I've probably talked about them a decent amount. So the one, I'm just going to get out the way, that's Lark by Alex Astor. I talked about this book quite a bit. I'm someone who, I hate this book. I put this in the most hated books or something. I did a video recently where I talked about that. I'll link that in the cards as well throughout the video, but I don't like this book. So I went into it thinking I'm going to love it because one, I saw it on TikTok. Everyone was reading it around the same time people were reading Belladonna, right? It was during the fall. Barnes & Noble was hyping it up. People on TikTok were hyping it up. And I was like, this book has to be so good for like a YA fantasy, right? I was like, what the heck did I read after reading this book? I was like, this cannot be what everyone's talking about. Like this can't be it. I've said this before, plot holes, characters that are underdeveloped, things that just don't fucking make sense. There's not really romance, even though she says it's romance, and she's making a movie out of it. Like that's just the cherry on top. That's why I'm like, I give up. I give up. Out of all the books you can make a movie into, why you gotta choose that one? It's not that great. It's not that great. Unless they saw the potential and completely rewrote it and made it into a movie, that was the only way that I was gonna. Yeah, that was only no. Not for me. Moving on. I can talk about that book for a while. The next book I have is The Outlaw and the Lady by Lorraine Heath. I am a huge fan of Lorraine Heath. Huge fan. This book was severely disappointing. I honestly, was it the mail order bride one? I just remember rating this really low on Goodreads and being severely disappointed because I just didn't think it was the same story and the same writing that Lorraine Heath has previously done. Now, I don't know where this book lands, like in her backlist. Like, I don't know if I've read books older than this or I've just read books newer than this one, but this one just did not work for me. Was not that great. I also don't particularly like the outlaw, like American style historicals. The only people that, I lied. The only people that I think I can do that well is Joanna Shupe, if they're written in New York, like New England. Also Beverly Jenkins. Those are the two people that I've read that really does the American historical romance books well for me, and this one just did not work. Did not work. The next one, you're probably already gonna know, okay? And that's False Boys by Penn Douglas, all right? Penn Douglas I love them. I love their books. I love just the way that they write and can take such taboo stuff and turn it into such an amazing book. Cough, cough, Credence, okay? So we picked this up for cover to cover sometime last year. We both hated it. We both hated this book. I gave it 2 stars. I was like, what the hell is going on with this book? Now, I know people had said in the comments that if you've read the Fall Away series, I think that's whatever it is. This is the second generation to that series. So what all those characters go through in that book is like part of this book, but it's not explained. You just kind of should already know what they've gone through. And, like all of the mysteries that was in those 4 books or whatever, and between those couples, it's like now into their kids. So we were like tossed into this world, and I'm like, okay, but if you're going to do that, you can't label it as another series because that confuses people. You know what I mean? Like, that confuses me. I'm thinking this is a first book in a series. It might end on a cliffhanger, which I'm okay with that, knowing that it's a first book in a series, but I shouldn't have to pick up any books before it to understand what's going on. So that was the reason why I hated it, because I was hella confused. I was hella mad. It was long, and I had to read the whole thing. The next book is Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Ann Cole. So I read No Tomorrow by Carrie Ann Cole. Loved that book. That one brought all the emotions out of me, honestly. And with this book, number one, I didn't feel that the characters had a really deep connection. I was severely disappointed with that I just felt like they weren't connected. I felt like the age gap just didn't make sense. I really felt that he was more of a literal father figure to her rather than a partner that turned into like a romantic relationship. I just felt like he was the reasons why they got together was really weird to me. Like, she was sick and she needed medical attention. He was like, oh, get married to me and I will, you'll get all my health insurance so you can, get the care that you need. It'll be low cost, which, number one, that's not how it works in the United States. You can have health insurance, but you can still pay out the ass to get medical care and medication. So yeah, there was like the whole thing with it being a romance. I was like, I didn't feel it. It was hella long. Once again, it was a long book. I didn't feel like there was any chemistry, any connection, any, like, in the romantic sense. Like, I felt like that they cared for each other, but did I think that they were in love at the end of the book? No, I didn't feel that. So for me, it just was a miss for me. And I ended up like hating it because I was like, I just read this whole fucking book and it was not good, but everyone's been hyping it up. And I'm like, I don't like it. That's how I felt. I would say hate is kind of like a strong word, but it's fine. The next book is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I am Lauren Asher's biggest Formula One fan. I love her Formula One series, and I love some of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I really loved the last book. This first book, I was like, is this the same writing? So when I read this book, I think at this point I read all of her Formula One series, and I thought, let me start with the Dreamland Billionaire series. Now, Wrecked and Redeemed are two of my absolute favorite books by that woman. Holy shit, she can write too. Those two romances really get me in my feels. Like, the anxiety rep in Wrecked and the disability rep in Redeemed is just something that is top notch for me. She did it perfectly, in my opinion. So when I went into The Fine Print, I was thinking I was going to get that level of writing, right? Because she finished the Formula One series, going into this new series, and I don't know what it is with Lauren Asher, okay, and her series, but the first one or two books in her series are just bad. Formula One, her Formula One series, her Dare to Air series, I read books 4, then I read book 1, then I read book 3, then I went back and read book 2. You can read them out of order. They're just in the Formula One world that she created. But I read The Fine Print in order, and I was severely disappointed with I read the Dreamland Billionaires in order, and I was severely disappointed with The Fine Print. I thought that book was... The third act breakup was stupid. You could see it coming. The miscommunication trope that, leads to that was something you could see coming from the very beginning, and it was just annoying because you could see it coming. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's keeping this secret from her, and it's going to come out, and he had so many fucking opportunities to tell her, and I just never understood why it was that long and why he never told her. So yeah, that one just was not for me. But if you want a good book, read the last book, The Final Offer. That one was a really good book. But out of all of Lauren Asher's books, I know that the Dreamland Billionaire series gets a lot of hype, but I promise you, two of her most underrated books are Wrecked and Redeemed. Hands down, Wrecked and Redeemed, two of my favorite books, the most underrated by her. And the last book I have to talk about is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tess Bailey, or as I like to say, Hook, Line, and Stinker by Tess Bailey. I'm so stupid. Okay, so I read It Happened One Summer. Loved that book. Ate that book up, right? When you read It Happened One Summer, you were introduced to the characters who were in Hook, Line, and Sinker, right? You think, okay, they had this little instant connection and tension and chemistry, and I knew it was going to be a friends to lovers, and I thought this Hook, Line, and Sinker is going to be great. We picked it for cover to cover, and when I tell you it was such a letdown, me and Sam were both like, what did we just read? We were so disappointed in this book that we were like, is this Tessa Bailey's actual, like, normal writing? Did she really write this book? Which, if you haven't noticed, most of these books are like the one-offs by some of my favorite authors because I'm like, what is happening? Do you know what I mean? But for this one, I just felt like you have this friends to lovers aspect and they're apart for most of the book and the connection is like severed when that happens. And I was just like, nope, don't like it. Not for me. Not going well. That one just wasn't for me. I was like, what the heck did we read? It was not that good. I felt like that it wasn't that great of a romance. And I mean, it was on the shorter side, so I wasn't like too mad. But like, I was like, how can it go from like It Happened One Summer to like that greatness to like this? You know what I mean? Like, how could that happen? That is all I have for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. It was something different that I decided to do. I will have McKay's channel and her video linked in the description box below. For the emoji, leave me a diamond emoji. I don't know why, that's just what I want you to leave me. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.